Hello, my name is Umar Balarabi. In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to use a MySql data adapter to retrieve record from your database, which is a continuation of our previous video, part 1, where we discussed how to implement connection string after installing your XAMPP. Assuming you have your XAMPP and it's up and running, so you need to download MySql connector, install it on your system, which will allow your application or your Visual Basic.NET to communicate with your MySql server. So also we have seen how to download mysql.data.dll file and how to install it in your computer. So in this one, we're just going to proceed and show how to use a MySql data adapter to establish or to query your data from MySql database to your Visual Basic and view it in using Datagridview control. So assuming this is your form and you want to, after the moment you click load, you want your record from this table, TBL test from test DB in database. You want to display this record to your application. So what you need to do is you double click your load button, which will take you to the event environment for the button control. So in the first place, you need to open your connection by typing con.open. If you remember in our previous video, we declare a public variable called con, which is we establish a connection string to our database directly. So you need to open that particular connection before you retrieve your record from the database. Then you declare another variable data adapter variable named da as new your SQL data adapter, MySql data adapter. You open your bracket, put a double quote, and say so here you write your SQL statement. Select all record from that is this asterisk indicate all record from TBL. Let's go and see our data table name, TBL test. So TBL test. Then after the SQL string, put comma, then con, that is your connection string. So then you declare your data table, new data table, or we call it name DT as new data table. This data table is where we are going to put our record in, and the purpose of this data adapter is like an interface between your application and the MySql database. So this interface will retrieve those records and put it inside your data table. So data table is just like a container which will hold your record. So now, but remember, this DE, our data adapter, has two methods. One is fill method, which will fill your record into your data table. So we say da.fill, open bracket, dt, you close that bracket. So this line will take all the record from your TBL test and put it inside this table, this data table, so that you can use it later. That is another method, da.update for data adapter, but we're not going to talk about it. But this update will, assuming if after retrieval of your data and put it inside your data table, so this and you made some modification, this update will modify that particular record into your table, but we are not going to discuss about that. So now you go ahead, since you have your data in your data table, you go ahead and populate it to your data grid view. So the name of our data grid view is, we didn't name it, so it's data we are using the default data name, control name, data grid view 1, then data source, that is the data source. Where is this control going to get its data source? Its data source, so it's from data table. So you just click equals to, not equals to, dt, sorry for that. So now then finally, after you are done, you need to close your connection because you don't want to leave your connection open. So you close your connection. So now let's run it and see. So the moment we load our application, we say load, it will retrieve those records and load it back to your database, but we have an error here. So let's see how to how to debug this particular database, this particular error. It says the table test1.tbl test does not exist. So let's go and look at our tbl test, the naming convention, the naming. Is it exactly similar? tbl test. Let's look at our this thing. tbl test is similar. So what of the tbl test1 we said under that one? tbl1 test1 is also similar. So we are trying to bring the data inside tbl test, but if we look at our database, I mistakenly took this tbl test from test db, but our database is what? Our database is test1, not test is sorry it's test1, not test db. So this is the table we are going to view. Student. So in this code, we change this code, we stop the running, we change this to students. Let me say the s there, students. So now let's test it and see. Load. Ta-da! So this is our record. So the moment you put this select all from tbl student and run it like this, it's going to retrieve all the data from your database. Let's add another record. We insert, we go to this and say un maybe 003 or 004. Name, let's give it John Bala, for example. State, let's say Lagos, and say enter. So now we have the third record added to our database. So let's go there and run our application again. Load. So you see we have the third record added to our database. So this is how to use a MySql data adapter to retrieve your record from database. But remember, always if you are going to put your record like this as in DA as new MySql database, make sure you declare your MySql client at the top. You have to put import mySql.data.mysql client. Assuming if you don't have it, the moment you put this code, is going to give you an error. So you need to come to this area and say system.data.mysql. MySql. So if you remove that import at the top, you see MySql.data.mysql client, MySql client.mysql adapter. So this will take care of that import at the top. But if you are not willing to put this one, you just want to start with MySql data adapter, so you need to say import here, system.data.mysql client .my data. So if you don't want to put this, you come here and say import MySql.data.mysql client. So at least if you have this at the top, you can go ahead and remove this. So thank you for watching.